everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Carol. Today my video is going to talk about the four elements of the tarot and how the symbols of the cards indicate the quality and the energy of those elements. Now, as you can see, I have taken out the aces from two decks, the Marseille and the Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot. The reason the aces are used is very important. The aces represent the purest form, the purest energy of each of the elements of that suits, namely wands, fire, swords, air, pentacles, coins, earth, and cups, water. Two columns, wands, fire, swords, air, represents positive male energy, and it is active and expansive. Here, our earth and our water is negative feminine energy, and it is passive and receptive energy. So what I'm hoping to do is to show you how the energies are depicted in the symbols of the cards' images. Fire and air need one another, and the same is true for earth and water. We fan fire to give it additional air in order to increase it, and then we extinguish fire by eliminating the air. Metal is forged in fire. Without fire, the metal would not be strong. The fire gives it its strength. Earth needs water to change its composition and allow it for growth to take place. Without water, earth cannot produce. Water needs earth to give it form, direction, and solidity. If we take water and mix it with earth, we now have something solid. We let it dry, we have brick, we have clay. Our lakes, our streams, our rivers are all bodies of waters that are conformed by the boundaries that the earth provides. Now, on the other hand, any combination of these suits or these elements, let's say fire and earth, they are not compatible. So what needs to happen or transpire for the negative and the positive and the negative polarity to happen is you have to conform, there has to be an adjustment, there has to be an adaptation, and then they become compatible. So you can see how important this is when you are doing a tarot spread to look at your suits, to look at the elements, to see if they work together, if they need each other, or if there's incompatibility and that something has to give, something has to be adjusted. Sometimes something is needed for it to work smoothly. Now let's look at how the active, expansive energy and the passive, receptive energy is depicted in these cards. The wands and swords are held by hands, indicating activity and motion. In the Marseille deck, there are no hands for the earth and the water, indicating again a lack of movement and activity. Also notice that the bottom of the cup here is in white. It is not on whatever it is behind it, whether that's earth or let's say a shelf. And when you understand white, you realize that it is open space. Key word for white is unfoldment. So the cup is still in a position of unfoldment. We are going to also use the art of palmistry to interpret the meaning of the hand position on each card. Okay, it's very important. And you can see here the dominant color of blue, but there's some lighting of that color around the hand. And even more so in the traditional Rider-Waite, my teaching cards, look at the energy surrounding the palm of the hand depicted on the four suits. So we need to understand what the hand symbolically is representing in order to understand the energy of the cards. Okay, palmists consider the thumb. There's the thumb, very emphasized in the Wands card. as an important part of of human hands. Okay, there's two reasons for that. The thumb, as it is placed concerning the 4-digit, is almost like a lever. You can move it around up and down. Also, the thumb is a distinguishing feature of man. We also know how powerful the thumb is when we get a thumbs up or we get a thumbs down. We have an agreement, we have a disagreement, we have a yes, we have a no, we have a like, we have a dislike. So the thumb is very important symbolically. Also in palmistry, the thumb is divided into two sections. Two parts. The fingers are divided into three, but the thumb into two. The first part of the thumb is considered the will, and the second part, until it meets the palm of the hand, is considered logic. So we can see here by the Ace of Wands how will and the logic is ready to enforce movement if it needs to be initiated. We also know in the Rider-Waite that the hands, the arms are in suspension. They are not grounded. So there is the potentiality for the use of the elements, the energy that we're describing today in each of the 4 suits. Now, the other thing that palmistry teaches us about the thumb is that it represents not only the will, but willpower, steadiness of purpose, and the ability to achieve any goal once it has been decided upon. Remember, you also have logic here. So the thumb is ready to go when it is initiated by the mind. So let's look at how these positions show activity or lack of activity. And I'm going to do that with these cards. All right, let's start out with the wands. You can see here that there is definitely the thumb is shown and can be used as that lever to use the club. Here in the Ace of Swords, you have a clenched hand, determined hand. It will take action if needed. Now look at how that differs. Here we have a cupping hand. It certainly is not aggressive. The thumb, will, and urge is calmly placed down, and it's also touching the first finger, which is known as the finger of Jupiter. Jupiter is benevolent, and it has a protective urge. So this hand is almost admiring, evaluating, or protecting the pentacle, the coin, and has no way of, doesn't show any way of using it at this point. It's just evaluating, observing, admiring, if you will. Now the same seems to be true here on our feminine passive receptive pole of earth and water when we come to the Ace of Cups. Here again you have an open hand. It could be receiving, it could be giving, but the thumb is laid down, it is resting on the hand, and look again how that finger, Jupiter finger, seems to be emphasized. It is up over the other 3 remaining fingers, which seem to be joined. Again, there's an emphasis on Jupiter, benevolence, and a protective urge. So, understanding how these hands are depicting the symbols, we can see how valuable that is. There is so much more to understanding the 4 elements of the tarot, the 4 elements that we use in alchemy, astrology, and psychology, and that's just to name a few. So I'm hoping you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it enlightening. I love to hear from you. Thanks everyone for watching today. This is Carol signing off. Take care for now. Bye-bye.